Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Dance of the Soul. And today, Regan and I are going to have a guest on soon. And she's kind of talking about being in between this and that. And so, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about that because many of us are in between the crossroads. And I, Natasha Venter, intuitive medium, personal awareness life coach, and I specialize in pretty much anything and everything in life. But I do look at past lives, I do look at emotions, and I do interact with a lot of those things because I had to. I had to work through grief. And so Regan here is wonderful. And this is what we intend to do on the show is to talk about how our soul goes through its troubles, its tribulations, its past lives, it's now life. And I consider sometimes yesterday or even this morning a past life, because we all kind of go through sometimes a big metamorphosis in a day. And so sometimes it is like a past life. So Regan, welcome, and it's Monday already, and
Well,
we're into our second year here
yeah,
because last week was our anniversary year Monday for being on the show together, and minus one, but he's off doing his wonderful dance, and we're doing our wonderful dance in the Dance of the Soul, and
yeah,
so welcome, welcome, welcome again.
yeah. Good to start out the new year. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, for us.
I'm a facilitator certified with the Newton Institute, actually on the board of directors there, and we're a institute that's been studying the afterlife, like what happens. Our research that we've done with I think we have 220 therapists now, 46 countries, and right now there's probably somebody in session that's actually in the afterlife having the experience of a lifetime. We discovered a process about 40 years ago where a person in a deep state of trance, which almost everybody can achieve with the help of a facilitator, is able to transcend this world and actually find themselves in the afterlife face to face with, you know, souls on the other side. They find themselves in their natural state, which we found is pure energy, that can morph in and out of, looking human or not, or just energy. When people's experiences over there, and while there, they get to have a couple hours, usually an average of a couple hours of exploring where they're going to eventually go when they leave this life. They're going. We call it back home again, like our natural source. We found out so many things. I think the biggest change that gets people thinking altogether different about life is that we realize that we were actually created over there, not in the fetus. Like we didn't begin with conception or something like that. We were already born, and we're just using the physical bodies as a place for experience, like a school.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you realize that soul's the energy, and it can actually embody itself in human body, and it could embody itself anywhere that it would like to have, if it wants to, for some sort of experience or some sort of learning. And that's what I help people do. And Natasha and I, what's great about our show with Natasha and I is that there's, what we do is not the only way to contact the afterlife. The other way is through talented mediums, like Natasha, who can actually just, it's like she has an open phone line there. Yeah.
Thank you for that compliment.
Yeah. Who do you want to talk to? And then that person comes to the phone, and whether it's a relative or could even be somebody famous. I know Richard Martini now, who's kind of a peer of ours who does a show, and he has a medium on there, just like you and I, Natasha. Only they're a little further, a few years ahead of us as far as their experience. But on the show there, they've talked to like Jesus through the medium. They talked to Tesla and Edison, I know, and different people like that. So what we found out is that anybody who's ever lived before is actually on the other side.
Yes. And I talk to Jesus regularly. I actually talk to Mother Mary regularly. I talk with, pretty much the team, angels, guides, whoever regularly. If I'm needing something, I just kind of ask them that being, because I call them ascendant masters or the team,
Right.
or a lot of people use the ascendant masters, but it's the people that have proven great, not I don't want to say great knowledge, but they've had a way of navigating through their soul's life regularly, because I know that many, like Tesla, he's been that kind of being several times in their lives. And so with that, Nicole, I'm going to let you in just a minute, okay? And
Oh,
we
good.
need to
She's
finish
here.
our conversation. So I just wanted to acknowledge that you're here and I can see you. That as we're working through life and as we're going through life, that we do have these ascendant masters. I'm going to use that word right now, just because it's coming to me. That when we do need to work on something like a car, or we're wanting to do something, we can call in. Hey, can I have a guide that can help me out with my writing? Let's say,
Yeah.
and you never know who's going to pop forward, and you may not know them, because a lot of us aren't intuitive to see, know, do, but yet but we get that inspiration. And there's many times where I'm feeling like I got to write this, and I'm not very feeling very inspired. And so I ask my guides, angels, who can inspire me to write. And then maybe not that minute, but I can tell you that within probably that 24 hours, that I'll find within the waves of my day's energy. Maybe it's first thing in the morning that it's like I'm wanting to write my newsletter, and up pops the newsletter. And so I have my phone and I put it on notepad, and I speak into my phone, and I, get it out of me because I got inspired. And that's the thing about getting our guides to help us, is working with them as a team.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm finding out more and more all the time that it's just, it's a natural thing the way God created us to not just be down here all by ourselves like on a desert island, but we may be on an island, but it's surrounded by boats full of of people that can help us anytime we want. We
It,
just can take a little rowboat out there and go, hey, I'm stuck on this. Can you help me with that? And they'll give us information. So I'm becoming more aware of that all the time about how close all that help is, you know, and how how prayers can be answered,
Mhm.
um, how manifesting happens. You know, it's great because the thing that's good to realize for people listening to this is the fact that when souls come down to Earth here, they only send a portion of themselves down to the physical body. The rest remains home. So
Mhm.
even, for instance, let's say if Tesla has reincarnated again, well, part of him's still up there all the time anyway.
Mhm.
So, you can communicate with that part. So if you have a grandparent or a parent that's maybe passed away, and you can still visit them on the other side, even if they've reincarnated as your granddaughter
Mhm.
or reincarnated in some other part of the planet, you can still connect with them.
Yeah,
So
and I call that an essence of them. That
yeah,
way it's easier for the people who I'm doing mediumship with. This
yeah,
is that I use the word essence of them, that, hey, they've crossed back over, but this is the essence, and they want them to know, da 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 da, whatever
yeah,
that saying is. So, and that's the thing is that there's some of us in this world that we're meant to be 3D, and we're not supposed to, that we have a hard time connecting to our guides. And that's the thing is, right now a lot of us are in the crossroads, and if we can just say, you know out there somewhere, hey, I really need help, I really need this to happen, I surrender myself, I release all my expectations, which is hard for a lot of people to do. I'm stepping into the unknown. Where can I go? What can I do? And I can guarantee, when you go to that surrender into that a lot of us who are just in the house, like, how am I going to pay rent? Where am I
yeah,
going to go? That I can guarantee that within reason, that if you pay attention and you trust walking through those unknown doors, that something and the universe is going to bring you to a place where you're
yeah.
greater good. And even if that means moving out of your home that you're in, but you never know what could be through that transition coming to that greater good.
Yeah.
Because we just never know. And when we go through life and when we're doing things and we're navigating through life, it's amazing how we can surrender to those moments. That I know for me, every crossroad that I've been in, every desert that I've been in, it's been amazing how life has given me something because I've gone to that surrender.
Yeah. Especially one of my clients last week got notice at the home. He had a room share with that people, and all of a sudden they have to be out of because the place he was at, they were renters also, and they were renting him a room in there. And all of a sudden, the owner says, "Hey, you guys got to get out." And so he just let him know he's got to be out. Well, he was beside himself, and I said, "Well, you didn't have any. This is something that's beyond your control. It's not something. It's not
It's
something.
not personal,
It's
but
not
yet it's
right." So I said, "You just have to settle down." Let's we went on Craigslist and found some room share things what he's looking at now, and I said, you're going to find yourself with a bunch of new people and that within a few weeks, and that everything's going to be fine. But it is scary at first when it
yeah.
feels like someone pulled the rug out from under you, but actually it was just to get you to a different place. Now,
Yeah.
on the other
And
hand, if you did something irresponsible or something that's say for instance you're renting a house from somebody and you do something which is against the rules of how you rented the house and you get kicked out. Okay, that might be a little tougher. You might have a little bit more to go through because you have a little karma to pay for what you help instigate. But so many of the times things just happen, like companies get taken over, people get pink slips and they've been there for 20, 30 years. And all of a sudden they're out, out in the cold. Um, but so you just have to trust. And like I say, you have to just know there's some doors. You see a door, just walk through it, even if you don't know quite where it's going. And there'll be, you get some help.
exactly. And I didn't mean that it's not personal, because it is personal, but it's not personal. Many times there's something like a pink slip to the whole house, and there's that cause and effect that it is kind of personal that you have to move. Yet if we take it so personally,
Yeah.
then we get out of the, oh, well, this is my next opportunity to be adventurous, or that kind of thing. And that's, if we can go with the greater purpose, it's amazing where we can go. So I think this is a great segue, if you're ready, Nicole, to come on in,
Yeah.
that we can bring you on in and welcome. So welcome to our show, The Dance of the Soul. And Nicole, I'm sorry I didn't know your name ahead of time, so I didn't put that in the segue of who we were
Totally
going to
fine.
talk to. So Regan, do you want to introduce Nicole
Well,
for
this is
us?
the first time I've actually seen Nicole, although we've talked many times and texted a lot. And I'm just, she's just one of those souls. There's people will see here that she just has a real genuineness about her and a realness. And she's going through a lot of changes in her life. And I thought it'd be good to, trying to find, I think, Nicole, you're trying to find your footing, about where where you belong, what you should be doing, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think it's just since so many people are in this situation as you right now, you're going to be kind of representing thousands of people right now that are going through this. So I'm hoping today that between Natasha and I, we can help you kind of get a few pieces to your puzzle that's going to kind of help get you where you need to go. We're kind of like angels on this side that have human form. And we know so much, but then the angels on the other side have a bigger viewpoint. They can see a little bit further out than us. So that's what helps us in there. But Nicole, tell us about like your journey, like right now. What are you in the middle of mostly trying to figure out about your life right now?
Well, so much has changed so fast for me. Honestly, I have not even caught my footing. I was not really aware of this world more than a year and a half ago. I was just doing my daily thing. I, worked, hobbies, and didn't really give a second thought to my spiritual side. And as happened with many people during the pandemic, everything slowed down, shut down. I had just started to go back to school. I wasn't working. And suddenly I wasn't in school anymore because I was taking all math classes and science classes, but it was all online. And, that wasn't something I was really into doing. So I put that on pause. And it was just suggested to me by one of my health practitioners that I take a look at this academy that I belong to. It's the Academy of Intuition Medicine. And he just, in the middle of one of our visits, he just spontaneously kind of spat it out. And he's like, you should go check it out,
Yeah.
And I had no clue what intuition medicine was.
Wow.
I knew a little bit about, the energy body and chakras, but not really more than anybody else. And it's been a very steep climb, really fast. And it's funny because I feel like I'm remembering who I was.
Yes. Congratulations. Congratulations. Because that's what I say. That every time somebody says, that they're finding a piece of it, I say, I'm coming home. There's a part of me that's coming home, because I know these things. It's just waking it up to this lifetime. So congratulations.
Thank you. And sorry, go ahead.
Well, I'm just going to say, everybody, now, may I ask how old you are, Nicole?
I'm 38.
I'm sorry, how old?
38.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, you look like 28 or something. So, yeah, it seems to be that people are on this walk, and people that watch this show and like what we're doing, they can kind of go back to when they got their what we call wake up call, and there was something that just intuitively or something, shook them a little bit and caused them to switch the way they look at things, to where all of a sudden they went from not thinking about spiritual things to really thinking about a bigger picture, and then. Like right now, you're in this whirlwind right now where a whole bunch of stuff is going to be happening, which it has already, hasn't it? I mean, just from you going to this school, is this school, the Academy for Intuitive Medicine, is that different than the psychic school that they have in Marin or that they have in Berkeley? Is it a different type? It's the same thing, same school.
This is founded and run by Dr. Francesca McCartney, PhD. It's in Sausalito, and I mean, psychic school, I would say, is a good word for it, but I don't know if it's the exact same.
Oh, okay, because I wasn't sure. I mean, I live probably 20 minutes from it, but I've never seen it. I've never been there. But because you gave me that referral there, I hope to give a talk there soon. That's why I thought today I want to make sure I have the right information, and I'd like to give a talk there or something too. So now you're going to the school kind of not, it's funny, it's the School of Intuitive Medicine, and you had to kind of use your intuition to kind of, say, your intuition was kind of telling you, yeah, I think I need to go there, right? You're following your intuition to that place.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Natasha probably has better questions than I that way, but what's the basic thing that you're learning there so far that's that you can feel is kind of adding to this change in your life? What are you really learning?
The biggest lesson I've taken, there's two of them. One is boundaries. And the second one is that I've been a psychic empath my whole life and didn't know it.
Oh, wow. And you didn't even know it.
Yeah, I thought I was just a really emotional person. Turns out I don't know what my emotions are because I'm too busy feeling everyone else's. And so boundaries, it comes back to boundaries, which is really interesting because it seems like a simple thing to think about, but really we're talking energetic boundaries, and we're talking our psychological boundaries and our physical boundaries, and they're all the same thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
So how has, in your life before you were aware of this, as you were being like an empath or psychic and taking on other people's issues and knowing all this stuff, how did that affect you in your life as far as emotions and things goes and physically?
Well, I'll tell you what, the person who referred me was my psychiatrist. So I was definitely seeking mental help, especially after the pandemic. Very emotional. And
a lot of people get put on drugs because they feel like they're not their own self. And because there is so much out there, it's getting thick. It's like pea soup. the
Yeah,
emotions.
absolutely. It's forcing you to either deal with what's in front of you or, keep doing one of these things.
Yep.
There's no in
Exactly.
between, really, is there?
No, there's not. There's not. And that's the thing is that in my intuition, because I've been intuitive my whole life. I remember being born. I remember writing my contract coming in, and a lot of people say, but that's all meditation. I go, no, because I remember my mom's face when she picked me up as a baby. And things like that. My soul has been awake, I'm going to say, for my whole life in this lifetime, this physical body. And I'm very into the feeling other people's emotions, tapping into, I don't want to call their mindset, but I have very strict boundaries with mine. I don't tap into someone unless somebody gives me permission. And so with that I just get, a lot of times people say, well, what do you see around me? And I go, you have not given me permission. I can see in your aura, because that's everything. But yes, so good job. You probably had a lot of stomach aches when you're in school,
Oh,
or
yeah.
a lot of headaches, because, or even pressure around your back, your neckline, that shoulder area, that lower back or upper back, because of the fact that you were taking on so much of the weight of the world, because you're very attached to Mother Earth too, so you'd feel her emotions. And there's those kinds of things that kind of that navigate. And a lot of people have upset stomachs. Like this morning, I had a kid. I work in an elementary school for a little bit of the day. It kind of keeps me in the 3D world. And there was a kid that had stomach ache this morning. And it was like, yeah, because the emotions were really riding high this morning. And he's very sensitive. And a lot of times I just tell kids, oh, put that bubble of put a rainbow around you. That'll make you feel better. Just that rainbow of love around you, or like a bubble of love around you. And they kind of go, and these are kindergarten or first graders, so they're easy to I don't want to call it manipulate, but you can kind of give them something and they go, okay, I like rainbows. And so that it kind of gives them something, and then they feel a little bit better. That's why I'm there, I guess, to help those kids out. But good job trusting
So,
yourself, because that's that whole process.
yeah, how are they now? What are they teaching you to do about the boundaries? How are they teaching how to go about setting boundaries? That would be something good for everybody to hear for sure, because we all have boundary issues of some sort.
They would say, and I can hear the teachers and the TAs and the tutors voice in my head right now, grounding, grounding, grounding is the best way to strengthen yourself to know and set your boundaries.
Okay, and what's an example of grounding?
Grounding, well, as simple as going outside and sitting on the grass. And
physically grounding yourself to the earth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can feel your body, like, hi, body, I'm here. I'm in my body right now. I'm not above my body. I'm not thinking through everything. I'm present. And that's just a very simple way of looking at it. And energetically grounding, when you're aware of your spirit energy, you can pull your energy, stretch it down to the center of the earth. And so you're pulling up earth energy.
Is that what you, like, Natasha, how do you ground yourself?
Well, when I think I'm grounded, people tell me, you're way out there still. So because for me, my soul is part angel, fairy, and hawk and eagle and owl are my totems. So most of everything I have is winged. So for me, the way that I tend to ground is that up here in the Northwest, we have cedar trees. And so I pretend, or I imagine myself being a bird landing on a tree, or a crow. I'm very attached to the crows. And so I watch a crow land. And so I picture myself landing. And if anything, that gets me more attached to the process of moving down. Now, for me, I go barefoot in the snow. I go barefoot, and for me, being on the ground is partly me. So for me, I ground differently, because I've given up a long time ago to ground.
Yeah.
So I just find a way to navigate through, so that I process, like every morning I tap my body. Thank you, body, for being awake this morning. And so but I'm very connected to this physical body. I know when my liver's hurting. I know when my adrenals are struggling. I know when my digestive system is navigating. I know when my heart, there's those parts of me when I get a sore throat. Oh, am I speaking my truth or not? There's those first initials that my body is attached. I'm attached to my body. I'm interactive with my body. Yet at the same time, though, my practice in this lifetime is making sure my soul doesn't shoot out, even raising up in a chiropractic chair. When I go, stay with my body, stay with my body, stay with my body, stay with my body as I'm coming up, type of thing. But there's ways of navigating it. And I want people to know that, grounding is different for everyone. It's just like meditation is different for everyone. And so just do the better that you can do in the moment that you're in. Like when you're going through a stressful moment, try to be present in the moment. That way you're more grounded than not, if that makes any sense.
Would that mean, okay, so how does this, okay, you ground yourself. So how does this translate? Nicole's going through the day where she normally would be an empath for people's feelings and everything and taking them on, and they're attaching to her rather than flowing through her, right?
Yep.
So is the process of actually, let's say Nicole's talking to a relative or something and sympathizing or empathizing with them and feeling their pain in a way, would just consciously her thinking of, okay, I'm attaching to the ground, does that in itself help that energy to kind of come in and go through her rather than attach to her? Is that the idea? I'm not quite sure if I understand.
Yeah, well, being in this body helps us maneuver through the emotions of the day. It helps us to be a part. It's our body and soul doing the teamwork together to get through it. Now, boundaries for me is that a lot of people talk about putting armor up or shields or mirrors or something around us for protection. I've just given that over, and I just say put a bubble of love around me, because of the fact that I do so much mediumship. And my mediumship, I've done a lot where parents who've lost their children too young. So with that me being present without shields is very important. But I put a bubble of love around me because whatever gets filtered through that love gets transformed. So even if somebody is like, if I go to a funeral, there's a bunch of emotions flowing through. So that bubble of love, but I also put a purse right at my third chakra. So I put a blockage, something physically blocking my chakras, because your second and your third chakra really pick up other people's emotions. That's why a lot of people have a lot of weight around their belly, is because of their chakra is absorbed. The third chakra is, how do you feel about other people? How about, how does other people feel about you? And that's where a lot of people get in their intuition feelings, is their guts, literally. And so I put something when I'm in a very emotional place, put something there, or I cross my arms, not to honor what's going on, but I just put my hand, across my belly, just to protect what's going on. And another thing that people don't understand is, and for me, my physical body, I've worked through, my parents passed away, Lou Gehrig's and cancers. I am free from things flowing through my body. I don't need anybody else's crap. And so with that, the bubble of love filters what is around me, so that I can be as clean and as clear as I can be with where I'm going. And that's the difference between the way that I've worked through things and managed things. And like I tell people when I work with them, did you feel any less attached with me through that love? They say no. But I can tell you, though, that I come out cleaner than a lot of people do when I'm doing fairs. They say, you look just as good as you did at the beginning as you do now. And I sat in front of maybe 30 people that day.
Wow.
Because of the fact that I filter with love.
So that's all through the bubble. You're just putting a bubble of love around you.
A bubble of love around me. And then if somebody's being really, really, really emotional, I kind of have I picture things. I have this wonderful it's a Norwegian English wooden ship. And it metaphorically comes down in between me and the person. And everything that they say gets put on that ship. And you know who's on that ship is all the angels. And so they dump on that ship, and then the ship gets taken away when they're done, and it gets brought back, and those things get given back to the person so that they can transform what they need to transform with those new knowings of those emotions. And so with that, when those really are being dumped, I don't allow them to dump on my lap. I have something metaphorically in between us. It's for real for me, but it's metaphorical, for a lot of people. It's really a beautiful old ship that just honors it honors everything that person has gone through. And then it gets surrendered off to the angels because they know what to do with it. It's not for me to hold on to it. It's not my emotions. Let them take care of it. And that's my belief system.
So since Nicole's going through this now, Nicole, would you be willing to let Natasha give you like a mini reading, just kind of like to try to give you some sense of why you're going through all this right now? If she could pick up something?
Absolutely. And before we do that, can I just say that like this modality that Natasha's talking about that she uses to keep her energy clean and safe, we actually use something very similar. It seems that people around the world all have the same ideas of how to energetically protect themselves. And literally what we're taught to do is put a big river of energy rushing between us and the client, whoever it is, and that the energy will get stuck. Any energy they're sending your way will get stuck in this river and taken away.
Wow. Okay. Same idea, huh?
The thing that I like about the bubble of love for me is that there's so much action going on that the love has its own energy field. So if there's high energy around me, it vibrates to its energy. And if it's slower energy, then it goes to, so then it's not necessarily, it's transforming the energy around me. So like if I walk into a classroom and there's somebody upset, I have no intentions of doing anything, but the love intention can do its work. And a lot of times people go, oh, thank you for walking in my room. Because it's love walking in the room. It's not necessarily me walking in the room. It's love. And so with the work that I'm called to do, that's why I like having the bubble of love around me, because it's not just me. It's for the people around me. And that's I think the difference with let's say saying the river, it's not wrong or right. Yet at the same time though, it's that application, whatever feels right to us. That's where finding our own truth. It's not a truth. It's not the truth. It's just truthful that we can use in that moment. And I can tell you my application has transformed over the time that I've applied being a medium in professionalism. If that makes any sense.
This common sense approach here too would be great for, let's just take it to down to a real level of, let's say, husband and wife in a relationship. And one of them or other, because of work or something, is going through a difficult time and they're very on edge. So they could be a little snarky, and you don't want it, that they had, say your husband or something had a bad day at work and he's coming home, and he's not really being mean to you, but his energy feels like it's being mean to you. So if when they're being snarky, say in a way, if you can just imagine this river going through and just saying, look, and deflecting it off yourself, you're more apt to not hit him over the head with the pan later on, because you just can't stand his attitude when you didn't do anything. He's just, right? So it's like, it's just a way that people can use to deflect that energy that, you don't want to take on, or maybe you're around your spouse or someone you're living with, and they're just so hyper and so intense in a moment of what they're doing. And that energy is coming over and upsetting your equilibrium. So you could just have this river take that away and help yourself be calm. So that would be a practical application for this too, wouldn't it?
Yes. And to remember to stay, for me at least, most people, like Natasha was saying earlier, we're here on this planet to be in our body, and in our body be present. And that's what's best for us. And so to be grounded, especially when something emotional, someone you're connected to, is there and affecting your emotions.
Yeah.
And also, as she keeps Natasha keeps talking about love and compassion and thinking compassion versus empathy. Compassion is much healthier for our bodies and our energetic bodies.
Mm-hmm.
Empathy can be very dangerous, which is really interesting because I always thought if I was going to love someone, I was going to be empathetic towards them. But really what I'm doing is I'm taking on their emotions, and that doesn't help them and it doesn't help me. So compassion, boundaries, and that big wide river.
Yeah, good. That's really
See,
good.
now I use the picture of the river as two canoes because I'm married now 30 years with my husband. And to give a history that he's 21 of those years, he's been an alcoholic. Now 9 years, he just celebrated his 9 years of sobriety, have been coming from being very angry, depressed, struggling man to a man who's actually going, yeah, I shouldn't do that, should I? Within 20 minutes of doing it.
Wow, that's fantastic turnaround.
And that's what I'm talking about, love. Now, there's people at his, that we've talked to, and they can't believe the man that he's turned into. And there's been times like the other night, he was very upset. He's a double Leo Libra. So it's like two fire signs with air sign trying to balance life. It doesn't work in his way very often. And so with that there was one time when we were having a struggle, and I stood in my empowerment of love, because tough love, people think that love is all like shiny ice cream and bubble candy. Oh no. Have you seen a mother dog be upset with tough love? Tough love can be very empowering. And that night when he was very upset, I had tough love with me saying, I'm just going to call it shit. That's your shit. I know you're upset. Don't put it on me. I'm free from that. And yet, when the old patterns started to strike, because from now Mercury's in retrograde right now, so old patterns are being awoken. And I saw that old pattern. I walked out the door to reset myself, walked back in, and the first thing I said is, I'm loving, I'm loving, I'm loving, I'm loving, I'm loving, I'm loving, I'm loving. Because I wanted to because the mind pulls in those energies because of patterns. And so to stop my mind from pulling in those repetitive patterns, I just said, I love, 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 I love. And I kind of accidentally said it out loud, and him knowing me, he went, and he started shifting because he knew that I wasn't going to fight him, because I was standing in love. And it was tough love. It was not in my house, not in my house. This is my house. And so with that there's, it's recreating the mind patterns as well as the body energy. And so that's why, there's times when he didn't want to love, and I walked up and put my arms around him, and he put his arms down, and he says, after about a few minutes, "You're not going to let go, are you?" I go, "Nope." And he finally put his arms around me. Now he comes in the door and hugs me, because he's finding what love is about. And that meant tough love, because I didn't want to have a dry drunk half the time. I didn't want to do a lot of those struggles. And so with that I've practiced it. Love can heal. Love can heal. But it has to be with tough love. It has to be, no, not in my house. I understand you had a rough day, but not in my house.
Mm-hmm. So, Nicole, what's maybe we can start out by in your forest of tree of issues right now that you have, what's your biggest one that you'd like Natasha to give you a little insight in?
Okay.
So I'm going to stop you for a second, because your grandmother is here.
Which one?
Feels like did your mom and dad know each other fairly well? Because she kind of has that feeling like she can be either side, but I'm getting more, she's like flip-flopping.
Maybe they're both here.
No, it's one. Dad's side? Yeah, she says, I'll go with that. So was she kind of one that kind of went with the flow? She didn't really have she she passed away. I need some confirmations. More heart issue, chest area issues.
Heart disease, my mom's mom.
Okay.
But
So
breast cancer, dad's mom.
okay. So no, it feels more heart, lung.
Okay, yeah, she had COPD.
Yeah, so that would be the heart, lungs. So yeah, because it's not breast, it's not that kind. It's not outward, it's inward.
Okay.
So with that, then it would be the she kind of was a little snarky about things, wasn't she? That's the second time I've used that word lately with doing mediumship with older people.
Your guides are telling you. I didn't get to know her that well, except beyond being a child. So I didn't really get to see her beyond the doting grandmother.
Okay. Yeah, she was very loving. She spends a lot of time with you. She's very proud of you for walking through this doorway into the unknown. She says the unknown is coming home for you. You've already said that, but it's that coming home because she says that your family heritage has had intuition, and it's time for you to wake up. It's time for you to wake up to be that vibration. She says the reason why you've been feeling so icky with energy is because you haven't walked through the door. You were standing in the doorway, and so you walking through the door is going to help you with a lot of the energies out there in this world. You're going to become more a part of it instead of standing on the edge of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and you're using the word doorway. It's a very big word that came up for me last week. So
yeah. Well, we're all in this doorway, the metaphorical doorway, but a lot of us stand in that doorway fearful instead of walking through it.
Yep.
And that vibration, standing at the doorway because you're between two worlds, and that vibration becomes harmful to our physical bodies. The vibration is too strong. And so when we just walk through that doorway, whatever it is, it could be somebody in the 3D world just going from one job to another, but standing in that doorway of not making a decision gets hurtful. And so with that walking through that doorway is going to alleviate yourself of a lot of your physical ailments.
Wow. Okay.
But what she wants you to do is she wants you to do some of the it's not like she wants you to do something like Reiki or acupressure. She says acupuncture might be a little too strong for you. I can't do acupuncture either. My energy moves too fast. So doing something to help with, and it's not the word grounding, but it's grounding the energies into your body. Because our bodies are vibrating, and the more we can attune, I use that word a lot, attune to the energies of the now, that helps with the energy of the body and what it's going through. She's very proud of you. She's very proud of you.
Ask Grandma if she's familiar with the psychological acupuncture, was the tapping. Would that be something that would benefit Nicole?
Yes. And even just regular tapping. I'm in my body today. I'm in my body today. I'm in my body today. Thank you, body. Thank you, mind, for working with me. Thank you, neck, for holding me up. Thank you. It's that kind of physical tapping that her body is needing. Than it is doing the kind. Yours is the kind that you suggest is magical. This is more about her. Okay, so if I can explain it, it's like your body is trying to vibrate at a different realm than what it's used to.
Yeah.
And so with that it is that tuning in. And yes, it would work doing the EFT that he's talking about to get the body to, like for me, I hold on to magnets. If you put magnet in each hand and under each foot, that gets the electrical system more balanced.
Really?
Yeah. So I can see yourself holding hands or holding magnets in each hand and under each foot, and then somebody putting their hands on your shoulders who does Reiki.
Can I ask you a question about
that?
it kind of was going to go into the question I was going to ask. So is it okay if I be a little spooky?
Yeah. Oh.
Okay. Well,
what world am I not from?
So what you're talking about, my body's trying to vibrate at a different rate than it is now. I'm stuck in this doorway. I'm standing there afraid to move forward.
You're actually moving fair. I can see your foot stepping into the world.
Oh, well, see, that's good.
That's good.
Yeah.
I see your foot. You're actually stepping in. This is the process of it. Okay, go ahead. I apologize. I wanted to make sure that was important to say at that time. So I
never apologize for reading for someone when they ask you, right? I mean,
yeah, but it's interruption. So keep going.
Okay. So, once I started doing this work, I realized part of my issue with boundaries is not just other people's energy, but entities stuck inside of me and stuck to me. And I've been going through process of pulling them out. I'm not quite advanced enough. I'm only like 2 months into an 18-month program.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know that I keep dipping down into a lower vibration. And whenever I start to climb back up, they make my grounding very hard to do. They open my 7th chakra, so it's easy for me to fly out of my body. Nightmares and stuff like that. It really keeps it can be a struggle to just get my basic energy work done. And I was wondering if that has anything to do with why I'm opening up right now, if this is a direction that I'm kind of being prodded to naturally, is learning how to deal with these kinds of energies. Mm-hmm. Because I've also taken an interest in it, and everything seems to be pointing me in this direction. I'm very curious.
So for one, we're on air in front of whoever's going to listen. So do you want me to say what I'm going to say on air, or would you like to do this off air?
I think if it's going to help anybody else, then let's say it on air.
Okay. And I'll be careful, and you can tell me to stop at any time. Okay. So as we open up intuitively, we are very open to a lot of suggestions.
Yep.
When somebody tells you something, like I start off all my sessions, remember, your truth is your truth. What I tell you is a suggestion or a perspective. Please, if you don't agree with it, put it around your back pocket for a little while. See what parts of it you can take for your own truth. Okay. So saying that, I'm going to give you a perspective.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. And I highly align with what you just said, that disclaimer, because the power of suggestion can also be very strong.
Exactly. And if you're in school, guess how many doctors you have giving you information?
Yeah.
Okay. So seeing your past life, you come from a planet where the energies do not look clean. Okay. As a star being, they are dark. They, I don't want to call them reptilian. They are way out there. They're not something that we have come across yet. You come from a far off planet. Okay. I do too.
Wow.
Okay. These energies are part of your family. This family that you come from, this planet, has good, has bad, has positive, has negative, has up, has down, has light, has dark. All the beings have darkness to them. So they're not all dark in energy. Does that make sense? This is what I'm seeing. This is what I'm being told. Mm-hmm. What they are doing is they're sabotaging you at night. They're kidnapping you because they want to take you home and play with you. They miss you.
Oh, great.
It's like very toxic best friends.
Exactly. Tag. I've had to do this work myself. Okay. I'm going to tell you something because this is something that I need to tell you off air. So I'll tell you this off air because I don't want people to play with this.
Okay.
If anybody's listening to this and they would like more information, please get a hold of me and I will work with them individually. But I'll give you a scenario to work with your team that you're working with. Okay. I'm also getting the perspective. Have you done any chakra work?
Yes.
Okay. Have you gone into the root of your root chakra? Or gone down the stairs into the cellar of your root chakra yet?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. A lot of people I was taught, I have a teacher, great teacher. She showed me how to go down the stairs to the doorway of my root chakra and open up. I always had the key, but I never thought I did. Had the key, walk down there, and down in this root cellar, and each chakra has these roots or has these cellars. Okay, it's where we keep our dark, deep secrets. Okay, so as I was walking around, cobwebs, dirt, like all cellars that haven't been involved with, I came to this big chest. Okay, I'm going to suggest in a meditation. Yes, it's a meditation. You can do this walking, you can do this sitting outside, but doing a meditation where you go down into the root chakra and go looking at some scenarios. If you need some support, I do this meditation a lot for people, and so you can go down and there's a part of you that's wanting to be found. And it keeps trying to come out in other facets. So I would not say that you have entities that have piggybacked on you. We all do. We can go into a grocery store, going into a bar, we have them. I would suggest for you that instead of looking at them as entities, look at them as emotions that have stuck to you.
Mm-hmm.
That have presentation as entities, because emotions, I call emotions like my best friend. So here's let's see, who's wanting to present. Uncertainty is sitting right next to me today because I'm kind of uncertain about what my future is going to hold. So I talk to it like a friend. So with that your emotions have kind of sat here. Other people's emotions have sat here. You have a mate, right? A husband, right?
Yep.
And then I feel like there's kids around you.
I don't have kids.
Is there kids around you? Because there's a kid around you. So either this is a kid
I've heard that many times. A boy.
Mm-hmm. That there's, so either, are you thinking about having a kid yet?
No. I actually, I have a friend who is trying to get pregnant via surrogate, and I spend a lot of time with her.
Okay, then you need to clear out your house.
Oh no, that's a whole nother story for a whole nother podcast.
Yeah.
What's going on in our house.
Yeah. And I do house clearings too. So with that, and I can do them virtually. That as we go through life and doing those things, so you've been an open book and you've allowed, you haven't had the boundaries on you. And that's part of it. So in other words, taking selenite or just even taking feather, if you have a fan, like I have a hawk fan, or I mean a crow wing, and I can brush them off, and I bet you'll feel lighter. Take a sea salt bath. Have you ever taken a sea salt bath?
Yeah, those are amazing.
Yeah. So that's that part of clearing. Yet at the same time, putting those just saying that no longer, I'm done. I'm done being a open book. I get to write my own story. Nobody else is in control of that. Yes, we have guides. Yes, we have angels. Yes, we're in the passenger seat of the car. Yet at the same time, though, this is my physical body, and it's mine this lifetime. So when we do that work for afterwards about what you're going to do for your nighttime. And a lot of people are having problems with this, where their past lives being a star person, that they want to go home, but they're sabotaged. It's like, hey, come with us. Let's party. And you're like, I don't want to party tonight. I'm tired. But then it's like, okay, it's just way too much fun not to party. So your soul is going away, and that's part of this work, is that your soul is not recognizing, or your human mind is not able to recognize where you come from, because you're not a Pleiadian, you're not, the lizard people, you're not this, you're not that, it's like it hasn't logically been able to attach to it. So your subconscious mind is saying, what the hell? Does that make sense?
Yep.
So with that as we're going through life and managing that, a lot of us are very much star people that are coming onto this planet going, oh, hell, what? And we don't know how to manipulate that. We don't know how to play with that. Does this answer some of your questions?
It does. And there's one that's in my head right now that's very, very, is it okay if I ask another one?
Oh, please do.
So I have noticed I've had this issue in past life regressions. I've had this issue doing my own meditation. I can't perceive the other side very well. Mm-hmm. I can get psychic information fairly easily for other people, pictures, words, feelings, thoughts. But when I go journeying, I see nothing. It's like I'm walking around with a black veil on my face. Mm-hmm. Is that probably related to this then?
Yes, it's part of that not trusting walking through the door. All of you has not been in alignment. Check in to see what parts of you that are not in alignment or feeling worthy of going through that door.
Mm.
Yeah, and Nicole, when I'm doing this life between life thing, it's a common thing a lot of times. I get to a certain point with people and they just find themselves in blackness and there's just nothing, they're not seeing anything or anything. So what I've learned to do is I just say, well, we're not in any hurry. We're just going to hang around. And the longer they hang around in the blackness, I would say about 90% of the time, eventually a little pinpoint of light will show up or something. And then I'll have them gravitate towards that. And then wham, all of a sudden they're someplace they're, full color, whatever. And that happened to me when I did my life between life thing in my session. I was lucky my facilitator was so patient with me because I was feeling bad because when you're having a session, you're aware that you're in the session, but you're aware you're kind of somewhere else. It's kind of like split screen and nothing was happening. And then so part of myself was going, shoot, this isn't working. And I'm going to be so disappointed and whatever. And then I just calmed down and just stayed in that space. And then all of a sudden I went, seen a little red light. And he said, just go towards the red light. And then boom, I had 2 hours in the afterlife and it was a change of life. So it could be a matter just like you, just something in me was keeping me from walking through that door until I just kind of went, just kind of surrendered. And then the little light kind of came on, so it might just be, that, because I know I'm my analytical side, my unknown fear of moving forward or whatever. So it's a possibility too, that someone just needs to stick with you a little bit longer in that black spot and just relax and just enjoy it for a while and see what shows up eventually.
I think that's a great point. And fear also is probably part of the alignment that's holding me back. I have spontaneously seen energy in the house with my eyes open, not trying. I've seen it on my body. I've realized I've been seeing some of it since I was a kid. And there was such an element of fear with this whole thing. My whole life was into fear.
We're breaking through our old belief systems. The old belief systems of our parents, our siblings, our religions, whatever that is, to create this new truth that is true. It's a truth that we are. And it's amazing. And that's where working with someone who can create a trust with to help you. I know for me that's where I'm grateful that I'm intuitive, because I've gotten people to that spot where they don't see anything. And then my intuition suggests, oh, look through that door. What's through that door? Or something like that. Not putting a thought in their head, because I don't want to give them, but yet what the universe shows me to give them a place to look, to move forward, to do what they're working at, what they're going for. And it's amazing. But The difference between me and somebody else is trust.
Hmm.
My husband said one time, "Why are you always trusting your guides?" They haven't led me wrong yet.
Right.
They made me go down a dead end road once in a while just so I can get a perspective to turn around, but it's never been wrong.
I would say that for me too. Same thing.
You
good.
know?
It's like,
So
yeah.
so trust, it's that trust, and fear is lack of trust.
Absolutely. And it's really interesting too. I'm sure we've all noticed that when we are in trust, we're in flow, things are easier, and we're
Mhm.
suddenly seeing signs all around us. This is the direction. It's just
Mhm.
might as well be a big marquee floating in the sky pointing an arrow,
Yeah.
And then when you kind of stop having that faith, you lose that trust, you start to have fear, it's the signs just slowly drop away. And
Exactly.
you know,
Yeah, and you, Nicole, you going to that school, following your intuition that led you to there, or other people helping you along the way. Every time you go, there's a little bit of that, a little bit of that fear, a little bit of that unknowingness is dropping away.
Mhm.
And it's not going to just happen. Like, you don't want to it happen too fast, or you won't be able to handle it. So I think just if you just go slow and steady along the way you're going, just like look at being here today. Like even just you being here today, boy, I already got some good stuff I didn't know about. River of energy. So I mean, it's helped me already because I can. That's going to help me in relationship and help even with my clients, because when I was coming back from the other side and I was looking down I was in the space looking down at the earth, and my guide was next to me, and I was making the decision to do the work that I'm doing, and I was so excited about it. But then as I got closer to the earth, I started feeling all this awful emotion and everything, and so he stopped me and he said, "Look, you got to do 4 things to ground yourself, or you're going to get physically sick and you'll die." He just told me that bluntly, because your physical body can only handle so much, and it's good, good energy,
Mhm.
bad energy, it's going to kill you. So to add to what you guys just said, this is a perfect thing to say. He said, okay, first thing is to spend more time in nature, which is what you guys
Mhm.
talked about grounding from the earth. Okay. The second thing was to do a spiritual exercise every day. In other words, as you wake up, this is the prayer that I got in my mind. It's bless this day and those I serve, as I keep one foot in heaven and one foot planted firmly on earth to accomplish my mission. So just in other words, acknowledging that you're this higher being, that you're here for service and to help. Okay. No matter what it might be, in any small, little way or big way. And the third thing was to do as many random acts of kindness.
Mhm.
In other words, and then I saw myself picking up a piece of trash that wasn't mine and putting it in a trash barrel. In other words, smile at a clerk that you normally would just go by. Say hi to somebody. And as I was doing those things, I was shown this image of a glass, an hourglass that had been going where it goes like this. Where sand goes in the top, it goes right through to the bottom. And at first, nothing was going through to the bottom. And it says when the sand gets up to the top here, that's when you'll die. So by doing these things, when I saw myself doing a spiritual exercise, spending more time in nature, doing random acts of kindness, in my mind, it showed me the sand filtering down to the bottom to keep me, flowing that way.
Mhm.
So, maybe those things will help in addition too, keep you, keep that energy flowing, because it's funny because you think, well, I'm doing something good and loving and all this. How could my body get sick and never die? But that, we're these physical bodies are only meant to handle so much.
Mhm. Well,
absolutely. And
and
also, oh, sorry.
oh no, I apologize. And that's the thing, that a lot of us get ailments, like our knees hurt. Well, the left side's about receiving, the right side's about releasing. Many of us can't release a lot of the energies that we have, and our knees start hurting because the knee is about movement forward, flexibility. How are we being flexible in our life? And so a lot of us aren't flexible moving forward in our life, and then letting go of the angst and the energy. And so with that, there's always these things that our body is trying to tell us, that we're not navigating. And like for me, a lot of times my digestion is a little bit scenarioed, and and that's the time that I start using the mantra, I'm digesting my life, I'm digesting my life, I'm digesting my life, I'm digesting my life. And I do the energy flow through my body, I'm digesting my life. And a lot of times then it helps me with the emotions. It's one of those things. But one place that I use the river, I use the river too, but I picture two canoes, like for me and my husband, two canoes going down. He has his canoe. I have my canoe. We hold hands. I put my leg in his, he puts his leg in mine, but we stay in our own canoes, doing our own thing, our own life. If he decides to go down the rapids, I go down the calm side. If I choose to go down the rapids, he can go down the calm side. But we come back together again after the scenario. And so that's where I use my river is that, it's like individuality, but being together in the flow of life. And that keeps his stuff his, my stuff mine.
Yeah, and eventually, Nicole, when it's right, when you have me do a life between life session for you, one thing that'll give you too is more pieces, because like if you actually see and meet your guide and you physically, so you can picture that, that becomes more real to you, and you get more sense of you're not alone, and you're more sense that you do have help from the other side. That's, it just gives you a bigger perspective. So when you're going through the door now, you're more apt to go a little more lively instead of slowly, because you'll know that you've got this harness of a safety net as you're walking through, really, and that you don't have anything to fear.
And that's what I'm learning, is that there is a whole team of people on the other side with me all the time. I'm learning it, and I'm being told, because part of the academy, we give readings, we get readings. It's just part of the training. And constantly being told you're surrounded by love, all of your guides, your family, they're all here. And to tell you the truth, back to, if you hold the stuff in, if you don't work on your spiritual being, you get sick. Well, the reason I decided to do the academy when I was suggested to do it was because I had gotten really ill after COVID. My thyroid just stopped working, and I had just a bunch of stuff running around my body. Everything was shooting sideways and upside down and haywire, and in my body it was just misfiring everywhere. And my blood work was climbing and climbing and climbing. And here I am, and I'm not going to say that you have an illness, go to the academy and you'll get healed. But my blood work has all reversed and gone back the other way.
Awesome, Nicole.
And that is with support of my naturopathic doctor. So like, I want to keep saying, like, don't stop doing doctors, don't stop seeing doctors, but the spiritual aspect is so important.
It's huge. It's huge. It's like, for me, my adrenals were shot because I went through my parents passing, and all my family passed away within 70 years. And being an only child, only grandchild, it all kind of fell into my lap. And with that, my parents both passed away at the same time as I was having kids. My adrenals, they got turned on, and they never shut down until they went, and then after a while, my liver and gallbladder said, we can't support you doing your job and ours. So I got to the point where I couldn't eat anything with vinegar, corn, tomatoes, my nut allergy. Now I can't even be in the same room, literally, with nuts, maybe small quantity, but so my body just basically said, food, not allowed. It's not at my vibration anymore.
Yeah.
Naturopathic, doing the energy work of, I love my guts, I love my guts, I love my guts, and then taking the vitamins for, I take my adrenals stuff to support my adrenals every morning and every night, or every morning and every afternoon, just doing those physical things, but finding the spiritual reason. And like my dad, who's passed, said this summer, he says, Natasha, your lineage is until 90, because my parents passed away when they were 56, 57. I'm 55. And so I was kind of did a lot of work on my life. That he said, your lineage is until 90. Yet, remember, you're not your emotions. You have emotions. Right. You're not your emotions. You have emotions. And that was huge, because I didn't realize how much my grief sat in my gut. I didn't realize how much my angst and energy from having an alcoholic husband and kids at the same time. How I went from being so shy and quiet to doing the work I'm doing. Because I used to never speak. And now people can't get me quiet. Discernment's been my big thing. So with that as we go through life, it's that finding that fine line. I use the mantra all the time. I attune to the energies of the now. Mother Earth, Father Sky, please ground me in who I am so I can walk the path that I'm meant to walk, or whatever words come after that, Father Sky, Mother Earth, or, type of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And one thing that would be good for you to discover too, Nicole, is if you could get more clarity, like when you're if we're successful getting to the other side, which you probably would be, is finding out what your mission was. In other words, why are you here and what are you supposed to be doing? Because apparently now you're going through a cleaning and cleansing and reframing how you look at things, because you're going to need that in order to accomplish whatever mission you have. So you're just being scrubbed right now. And the fact that your health is starting to improve a bit is a great sign. Do you feel your emotional health is, in other words, is the glass becoming more half full instead of half empty as you doing this?
Absolutely. And I was diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder, and I don't have that anymore.
Oh, wow. Okay, everybody listening, listen to what Nicole's done when she opened herself up to her higher self and higher purpose and started actually facing her shadows, and started dealing with things. So Nicole, that's good to hear,
Yeah.
So,
and I would say that your purpose right now is finding self.
Is what now? What did you say?
Finding self, finding your core self, finding what your soul is about, finding your true self. You've had a lot of past lives that you've been what's the word? Distracted. That's the word I was looking for. Distracted from finding yourself. And this is your time to find yourself, finding your truth. My ear's ringing, by the way, with that one. So
yeah, and see, you're just you're not even at midlife yet. So even you have to remember all these issues and everything you had of working up to this point, and now you're shifting. You've got a whole other half of your life now to do some wonderful things. So yeah, it's going to be great.
Yeah, it is. And it's a big blank. I'm just like, right now, the picture I'm getting in my head is there's a city behind me and I'm looking out at just a valley that has not been touched, just not been touched by man, and don't even know what to expect. Never seen this before.
And
all you can do is one step at a time.
Yeah.
Because that's all that really matters at this moment in time.
Yeah. It's like being a kid and walking into Disneyland. And every as far as you can see, there's different rides and different places, and you can't wait to go travel and to see each one. So that's gonna, just think of a kid that way. They're gonna be pulling your hand, like, "Come on, mom," wanting to experience everything.
I love that. That is such a great visualization.
Yeah. Yep. It's not like the door to the dentist's office and your child trying to push you back out the door. Yeah. Well, you're doing great,
Yeah. And there's a part of you that knows what to do. Just trust it. If you can, trust that part of you that knows what to do, because she's pretty darn cool.
Yeah.
Your soul's more feminine than masculine.
Oh, really? We haven't gotten to that yet. We started this week the masculine feminine module. So the academy.
So we're both
down into, it's broken down into different. Well, first you learn the basics of, like, my energy is this. This is where my energy is. This is how you diagnose yourself. This is how you heal yourself. This is how you heal others. This is how you do it safely. And then once you have all of those down, then you jump into the self-work. So that work is just starting for us tomorrow, actually.
Exciting.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you. I've looked ahead at some of the topics that are coming up, and they're going to be very life-changing. There's a spiritual incarnation system that's coming up, and it's basically a soul retrieval. And I think she calls it a Western shaman's approach at soul retrieval, which I think is a very cool way to put it.
It's just finding a part of us that we left behind. And that could be on past lives, that can be in this lifetime, it could be whatever it is.
Nicole,
It's easy to do. It's just easy to do. It's just bringing that. The hardest thing I think that people have a hard time concepting is allowing that part of us to integrate.
Yeah, that's where the work is.
And honoring its travel to that newer self. It's the honoring it. There's a reason why it got left behind. It got scared. So trusting and honoring it, walking it forward.
Yeah. Do they do online classes also?
Yeah, it's basically there's 3 different formats. There's in person, and it's really great because they set the energy before you come in. They ground the space and they protect the space, and they make everything more accessible. And it builds your self-esteem when you're doing this work for the first time. And then if you want, you can also call in live via Zoom. And then there's TAs there to help support you, and you're still going with the class. About half of the people are on Zoom in our class and half are in person. And then there's a whole separate module that's called the Academy of Intuition Online. And you can take it at your own pace, and you still get the support, but you get recordings of the class.
All right, let's give them a plug, because they've helped you so much. And so anybody listening now, and this will be on YouTube for who knows how long, so it'll be people in the future. But what is the actual name of the place if they wanted to inquire?
It's called the Academy of Intuition Medicine, and the website is intuitionmedicine.org. When you go on there, it'll be broken down into three different spots, online, in person, and then there's another one, an energy medicine academy at the bottom. Any of them will take you to the first page where there's an orientation, which is just pop in, there's a meditation, tells you about how the whole thing works. Great. And then if you want to join, there's 3 core classes that you take, just teaching you about your energy body. And then if you want to get further certified, it's an 18-month program to get your Master's in Intuition Medicine certificate.
That's awesome. Yeah. Because that's what our show's all about, is doesn't matter what steps people are taking. Like, you're taking all these big steps, and today you've helped me take another step. I mean, with what I've learned. So, it's like we're all here to help walk each other home, So, it's just good to know all these things. So I'm sure some people will, because of hearing your experience there, maybe want to at least contact them. And yeah.
Anyone who I had a little bit of guilt starting this work, feeling like I need to help other people. And something that really put me at ease was, you heal yourself is the best way to help heal the planet.
Yeah.
Because the people around you are going to heal by proxy, or they'll be inspired to heal.
Yeah, exactly.
There's that bumper sticker that I've mentioned several times on the show, and I never forgot it when I saw it. It says, "Boy, how you've changed since I've changed," and it's just all about change yourself, and then the world changes around you, but the only person we can help is ourselves. We have to start with ourselves. And, the other thing is, like in relationships, you can't love anybody any more than you love yourself. So you have to really learn and work on the self-love, because that gives you greater capacity to love others around you to a greater extent. So everybody out there, you got addictions, you got stuff. Hey, you're only human. Everybody's going through stuff. So just know that there's help out there, and get some help, because you can turn your life around, at any point.
Absolutely. I think by the end of this, I'll be floating into the clouds. I'll be so light with everything pulling off.
Yeah.
And also, what's interesting is my husband's going through the academy also.
Congratulations.
Awesome.
There's a lot of change happening. Yeah, in our house. It's beautiful. It's scary and beautiful.
Yeah.
We didn't mean to take the class together. He started 6 months after me, but then our classes merged. So
you're going to find now, it's just like you're going to be seeing each other anew.
Yes.
You're going to see parts of each other you never knew existed before, and it's going to be very beautiful. Just to give you guys a chance, and the fact that you could, and that's unusual in a marriage. Well, I don't know how unusual, but I know you hear all the time of one person is becoming spiritual and the other person's not interested. And a lot of times what happens, you outgrow each other, and people end up moving on. But people that do spiritual things together, I think, tend to become even more entwined in their the relationship, because there's a reason you guys got together. Now you're starting to find out.
Exactly. We unlocked it in each other. Like he is the person that came into my life. I am the person that came into his life to get us to this point.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and too, just the basic 3D of relationships, it's nice to be able to talk with someone who knows what you're going through.
Oh,
And if it's your partner, that's even more of a blessing. So good job. And I hate to say this, I would love to keep talking, but we're 20 minutes past our time. We try to keep it to an hour.
oops.
And we kind of went past that, but that's
That was
okay.
good.
It was meant to be. I don't question what's meant to be. I just know boundaries sometimes have to be put on things when they're fun still.
Well, I really appreciate the reading, Natasha. I would love to get in touch with you outside of this to talk a little bit more about some of the stuff that we weren't able to talk about here.
Yes, and actually stay on, and I'll give you that little thing that I was going to tell you.
Oh, great.
But just stay on after, and then we'll talk about that, and then I can give you. But you can always get a hold of me through Natasha at Angelic Clarifications if you'd like to. The Angelic Clarification. My email is the same, Angelic Clarifications, or my website is Angelic Clarifications.
Okay.
So Regan, would you like to say something about
you? I'll just say if people want to get a hold of me, visit theafterlife.com. There's some great videos on there of people going through a life between life process. And in a nutshell, you get to a deep state of relaxation or trance, which everybody can reach, practically everybody. And the way we access the afterlife is by having you visit a past life, which we take a look at, and you go from there to the place you go between lives. And while you're there, you spend a couple hours. It's all, we keep you in this certain state where you can actually be there and you'll be like a kid in a candy store because you're visiting people that passed on. Counsel's there to help you with any questions. It's kind of like going to an afterlife university where you have all of these wise teachers that can, give you guidance and help you make sense of your difficult lives, because most everybody's having a difficult life. So when you get the higher viewpoint, which you get from this, you come back, you stop kind of bitching and moaning about how bad your life is and what a victim you are, and you start becoming proactive in your life and start realizing you have a mission with a purpose. And you came down here to learn certain lessons, and you didn't come down here to have an easy ride. You came down here because it was going to be difficult, and because of what going through this difficulty would teach you. Okay. So anyway, get to me at visittheafterlife.com.
And Nicole, would you like to say a little bit about you, and if anybody wants to get a hold of you, because you may be doing readings in the future, or you just want to say, I'm Nicole and I'm grateful to be here, whatever you want to say.
Yeah, I'm Nicole and I'm grateful to be here, and I don't know what I'll be doing yet in the future. So stay tuned. Maybe we can talk again in the future when I have an idea of the direction.
You're a great guest. I'm sure, Natasha, I'd love to have you on from time to time. Maybe
you can
kind of give us an update of what you're learning, and you can share with other people too, because it'll help motivate other people to do just like what we're all doing, is just awakening a step at a time. So
yeah, I would love to. And I can say that, like, if you think that this is not for you, if you think you would not be a good subject for someone to learn to be psychic, because that's what I'm learning to be psychic. I'm learning about my energy body. I'm learning how to heal myself. If I didn't know better, I would say I'm learning magic. And if you think this isn't for you, if you think that you are
good job, girl.
Like I am, I used to be Catholic, and those were my beliefs. And, even if you think it's not for you and you have the littlest bit of interest, pursue that interest. It doesn't mean you're not a Catholic, pursue that interest.
Yeah.
Because it's for everybody. It is. Everybody can do this.
You find that whatever your spiritual belief is, what we're talking about is in every teaching that's about love, and this is just expanding that a bit. So what I say is learning all this about yourself, if you really are into being a Catholic, this is going to make you be a lot better Catholic than you are now. If you're a Buddhist or a Hindu, or you're just a spiritual person, just learning what's more of what's going out there, and more of what's really the truth and what's been distorted is a game changer. So it's going to help you in your pursuit, no matter what your religious belief is.
It's adding the spirituality of truth to thyself. And that's what's amazing, because you stop hearing what the people are preaching, and you start feeling what the people are saying.
Yeah.
or the bigger purpose of it. You start feeling the greater knowing of it. It's not necessarily something that you hear anymore. It's something that you just know. You claim what is truthful for you, and you let the other stuff slip away. You just let the other stuff, because you're not going to take everything in school. It's not all your truth. So you're going to slip away what's not needed, and you may pick it up later when it was time to have it be a little bit more negotiable truth for you, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, that's beautiful. Absolutely. It's knowing your wise self, because your wise self knows your truth, even if you don't think you do.
The I am. The I am. Okay, so I'm Natasha Venter, intuitive personal awareness coach, and this is the work I do. The personal awareness is just what I am. And I am one who believes in pretty much everything and who has no judgments about what life is about. I love supporting people through life, whatever is in front of them. And I do that through my mediumship. I do that through my just intuition of knowings, because I come from many past lives. I come from many lifetimes. And with that I've collected a lot of those knowings. So with that, if you would like to get a hold of me to have a session, you can get a hold of me at angelicclarifications.com or Natasha at angelicclarifications.com.
Yeah, and I'll just put another plug for you there, Natasha, because Natasha's helped me in the last few months tremendously, and even my partner, Patty, here with some
Last
things.
week.
Next week, I'll tell you about what's going on with all that, because it's really was great that what you helped her with and everything. And also, Natasha is very affordable for anybody watching this program too. I mean, there's some people out there that do this for the stars, and they're like, oh my God, you have to take out a bank loan, But Natasha, you'll find her very affordable and very, very. She'll take her time with you, and she's really, really good. Take it from someone she's helped.
Thank you so much, Regan. I appreciate that, because it is about helping. Even if I had someone who was a millionaire, I'd still charge them what I charge, because that's my integrity. I hold high integrity.
You got it, high integrity.
So thank you. Blessings to everyone, and please come and watch us. What's that?
Just tell Nicole to hang on, because we're going off air, and then Natasha will talk to you a little bit.
Sure.
Blessings to all, and you can catch us here Mondays and I'm on Wednesdays for life clarifications. Wednesdays and Mondays at 4. You can catch on either my Facebook page, Natasha Venter, Angelic Clarifications, or my YouTube page, Natasha Venter. Blessings to all, and just know that tomorrow, the next minute, can be a different answer. Please hold on and see what that answer could be, because it might be the magical thing that could be changing your life. You just never know. Blessings to all.
See everybody next week.